Alright, what's happening, dudes? My name's Kevin Duty. I've been a welder for about 6 years now, and today we're going to do a rig tour. So I have a welding rig. I've got everything I need on my truck to pretty much build anything. I'm primarily a metal fabricator. I don't do too much pipeline stuff at all, so the tools that you're going to see on my truck are really designed and put together for metal fabrication. If you're looking to do more pipe welding type thing out on the pipelines, you're going to need less tools than this. For pipe welding, there's just less involved, not skill-wise, but as far as the equipment you need, it's more, burning rod, welding, cutting pipe, fitting pipe. But with metal fabrication, there's a lot more tools that you need. Squares, clamps, all kinds of stuff. So you're going to see that in a minute when I take you guys on a tour of my truck. But first of all, let's check out what I carry on my person as a welder. Now, these things I carry every single day that I'm in the shop or out in the field. This is every day. So let's start with my writing utensils. This is just a soapstone holder. Use this all day, every day. I got a fine tip Sharpie and a regular Sharpie. I've got my flashlight. This is a Streamlight Wedge. Really, really nice flashlight. Holds a charge forever. Love this thing. My Leatherman. I carry a Leatherman rebar. This is my favorite Leatherman. It's tough. It's amazing. Highly recommend the Leatherman rebar. I've got my knife. Now, I've got a pretty decent folding knife collection, so it rotates, but this is the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Really like this knife. It's a really, really great work knife. It's tough. It's great. What else? That's about it, besides, keys, wallet, phone, all that type of stuff. I always carry a 12-foot tape measure, but you'll see that when we get into the tools on the truck. So, without further ado, come on with me. I'm going to show you a tour of my welding rig. Alright, so this is my truck. It's a 2002 GMC Sierra 2500 heavy duty. It's got a Duramax diesel engine in it. Really love this truck. It's served me really well. I've installed airbags on the rear axle to help with all the weight. You can see them right back in there. Just helps it not squat so much and helps the ride. Rides a lot more smoothly. Don't have to worry so much about going over speed bumps and stuff like that. And with those airbags inflated, the truck sits at a normal level, pretty much at the level it would with no weight in the back. So that's really nice. Big quality of life thing to have. This truck would handle the weight without them, but it makes life a lot better. So I guess the most important thing of welding is your hood. This is just a ProStar hood. It's one of the flip-up lens types. I prefer this type of welding hood because when I'm grinding, I can just flip that up and I have the clear lens there. And then when I start welding, just flip it down and I'm good to go. The lens in here is, I think it's a Miller Arc 1, I believe it's called. They run about, I think I paid $110 about, but they're really good. This one's lasted me about 2 years. I've stitched on kind of a leather collar here down at the bottom just to keep sparks off of my neck. This thing has been really useful. Really like to have that. And that's the hood. Now let's talk grinders. So, every fabricator should have 3 grinders. One for each type of wheel that you have. So my little Milwaukee here has my flapper wheel on it. My Makita has my wire wheel, and my Dewalt has my cutoff wheel. I'm not really loyal to one brand of grinder. I'm just kind of trying them all. So having 3 grinders enables you to get the job done faster without having to change the wheels around. You know, if you have one grinder and you're done welding and you need to get a wire wheel on it, you know, you'll have to switch it out. You'll have to take off whatever wheel you got on it to put the wire wheel on. So this just saves you a lot of time, makes things a lot easier having 3 grinders. This is my Dewalt Die Grinder. This thing saves my ass all the time. Say I need a 5/8 inch hole, but my drill bits only go up to 1/2 inch. This really is handy for opening up holes to the correct diameter that you need. And it's got some other uses too, but that's primarily what I use it for, is opening up holes. You can see the die grinder bit there. Hammers. I've got medium-sized hammer, smaller sledge, ball peen hammer, and then the big boy lives over here for when you really got to do some slamming. That's the big old meat slammer. Meat slammer? Why did I say that? That's the big old slammer. I got a big old crescent wrench here. This is primarily used for bending metal. So what I'll do is, say there's say this is an 1/8 inch sheet here and it's bent up. I stick this on there and just crank down on it. Just good for or turning bolts, whatever you got to do. Big old pipe wrench, crowbar, level, and a big old speed square. This is good for I-beams or any type of something big that you're cutting. Another square. Let's see here. I got my pony clamp. This thing is really, really handy. It's basically just a sliding bar clamp. Tightens like that, and this piece, I can't really do it one-handed, but this piece slides. You can get these bars as big as you want, so if you have something really big you need to clamp, you can always get a bigger bar, which is pretty nice. Or if you need to get into a tight space, you can just chop it off wherever you need, and you have a smaller clamp. So this thing's really useful. I use it all the time. I have a bunch of little knickknacks, bits and bobs here in my bed. Just little pieces of metal from projects that, you know, it kind of accumulates here. But they're really good to have because oftentimes I'm in a situation out on the field where I need just I need a certain size little piece of metal that I didn't bring with me. I got some, you know, various bolts and nuts, washers, hanging around, and they really come in handy. You know, you never know when you need a bolt or a nut or, you know, a little piece of bar or whatever it is. So I kind of keep them accumulated here for when I need them. Back here is all types of tie-down equipment. I've got a come-along back there. Comes in handy. This is just a drill bit set. Gotta have one of those. This bag here is just various. I'm gonna have to put the phone down to open it. Hang on a sec. We got some screwdrivers, some pliers, some wire cutters, just different pliers and stuff. Here's my crescent wrench, or not crescent, or is it? Yeah, I guess wrench. I never know. I just call them wrenches. This is my wrench roll. I've got standard and metric sets in there. Goes up to 15/16 and 18 millimeter. If I need to loosen a bolt or tighten something bigger than that, then I just use my big adjustable wrench over there. Speaking of nuts and bolts, this is my bag of sockets and ratchets. Got a deep socket set, shallow socket set, couple ratchets, extensions, swivels. I work for a trucking company, so a lot of times what I'm doing is fixing trailers, low boys, bottom dumps, end dumps, and sometimes I need to get to a thing that needs to be welded that I need to loosen a couple bolts to get to, or I need to take off a part to straighten it and weld it back together, or stuff like that. So socket set is definitely good to have, even if you don't work for a trucking company or something similar. It's just always good to have a socket set on your truck. All right, let's talk PPE. This is my leather apron. I pieced this together from an old welding jacket, and I wear this whenever I'm fabricating. It keeps all the metal shavings and the metal dust out of my pockets. I hate when my pockets get filled up with that junk. It gets into my knives and flashlight and all that, so I always wear this apron. Got a little strap here for my tape measure and pocket here for my soapstone or whatever else. I wear this every day. I love it. A couple knee pads for when you're down on your knees. Save your knees, kids. Don't take your knees for granted, okay? I got 2 pairs of gloves. I usually carry these large type stick welding gloves, and then these this type of glove. I guess they would be called like TIG gloves maybe, but they're a little thicker than TIG gloves. I like to keep 1 pair of gloves for dirty work, grease, oil, and then 1 pair for welding. You don't want to get your welding gloves all greasy and nasty. And then these are just a pair of leather sleeves. A lot of times it's hot out and I'm wearing a t-shirt, but you don't want to leave your arms exposed, so these are just a sleeve that you can put over your arms to protect them. It's always good to have. Now this box here, this is a very important box. So let's open it up here. There's someone running a leaf blower in the background. Hopefully that's not destroying my audio. So this is all types of measuring and squaring devices mostly. This is the love of my life, the Stanley 12-inch tape measure, or 12-foot tape measure, I mean. This thing is the best fabricating tape measure that I've found. I really love this thing. Generally when you're fabricating stuff, you don't really need to measure anything over 12 feet, anything over 10 feet really usually. So it's nice and small. It's a thick tape. I don't like the really skinny tape measures that are usually the smaller ones. So really love this thing. I usually buy 2 at a time. In case one breaks, I have another one. Now for the big stuff, I have the Milwaukee 25-foot. Now this is a magnetic tape measure, which really comes in handy. You can see it's got a little magnet there. So you just put it up against something and pull your tape across. You're working with metal, so everything is going to be magnetic. This thing really comes in handy. Got my striker here. Striker, couple welder's pencils, couple center punches, little knife for sharpening my pencils. Let's look in the bottom here. Here I've got my die grinder bits for the die grinder, wire stripper, a couple little bullet levels. This is an old antique Stanley Square. Really like this thing. A really good way to accumulate tools is yard sales and estate sales. I've got a lot of good tools that way. Here's another smaller speed square, adjustable square, protractor, angle finders. These things come in handy. So you've got an angle that you don't, it's not a 45, 90, so stick this baby on there and tighten it up and take it back to your work. Folds out like this. So say I want the angle of this lid opening up. Stick it on there, tighten up that nut, and then take it to whatever I'm working. It just holds that angle for me. So these things come really in handy. I have two of them because sometimes you have two different angles you need to get. This is a circle center finder. So basically how it works is you've got a circle and you stick this point and this point here on the edge of the circle like so, and it's gonna this edge here is gonna show the center of that circle, whatever size it is. You can see there it's pointing right to the middle of the grinding wheel or the cutoff wheel. So this thing's pretty cool. I didn't know they existed until a couple months ago, and then I had to get one. That's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it in there. So let's fire extinguisher. Very important to have on your welding rig. You're throwing sparks all day. Eventually something's going to catch fire that you don't want to catch fire, and you need to have a fire extinguisher to take care of it. Always need it. I've only ever had to use it once, and boy, I was very, very glad that I had it. So that's an essential item. Got a couple squaring magnets here. Those come in handy. Over here we've got our power. We've got the big extension cord and the smaller one. Let me climb up here and we'll take a look inside the toolbox. Alright. Up here I've got some vice grips clamped in up here. Just different sizes, different shaped jaws. These things come in handy very often. Here I've got my pipe wrap. This is just odds and ends. And this is my angle grinder disc bag. Got flappers, I got wire wheels, I got grinding wheels. This is a little air-powered grinder that I use sometimes for getting into small spaces. Can't use that out in the field though because I don't have a compressor, but if I'm in the shop, sometimes I'll use this thing. So that's all my grinding wheels. Over here, this is the clamp bucket. I got C-clamps. I've got vice grip clamps. And I've got an electrical powered impact driver and an air powered impact driver for those stubborn nuts that you can't get off by hand. I've got an air hammer down there and chain clamp. That's about it. That's just my pile of extra gloves. Keep over there. Now in the side here, got some files. Got another smaller adjustable wrench. Got tire pressure gauges, scraper, little knickknacks. And then over on this side, it's just screwdrivers, some chisels, torch tips, grinder nuts. I think that's about it. A couple drill bits, little small hole saws, odds and ends. All right, I need to climb down carefully. Okay, are we gonna make it? Yep. Okay. All right, let's go around here and talk about the welding machine. My welder is a Trailblazer 301G. It's an older model. It's got a lot of hours on it, but this thing runs great. At least it does now. I had to recently rebuild the carburetor on it. I couldn't. Yeah, it took me a while to figure out what the problem is, but finally did. And I've never even seen a carburetor before, but I watched a couple videos on YouTube on how to rebuild them, and I was able to do it. So, yeah, YouTube is a great thing for learning. Best learning tool of our time. Got my leads hung up here. The way I secure them is I have this this hook here sandwiched by this piece of bar with a lock on it, so you know, if someone really wanted to get them out, they would be able to, but it would take them a long time. I've got about 60 feet here for my stinger, and then about 45, 50 feet for my ground. So that's been long enough for, at least for my purposes. Got my oxygen and acetylene cylinders here. They're secured by this bar that I have going across my bed. You can see there, it's just a piece of all thread tightening down this here. Put the leather on there so that it wouldn't rub too much. I'm not sure if, it's probably really not an issue, but I don't know. I just felt better having the leather there. And over on the other side, you can see I got my rod bucket. It's always good to have a bucket to keep your rod in, your old rod, and there's a little piece of rebar bent around there to hold the new rods. Chipping hammer and wire brushes in there. You need to have a rod bucket. Pipe stands. Right now I've only got 3. I really need to get one more. These things are invaluable for holding up your work, whatever you're working on. If it needs to be off the ground, these things will do the job. We already got the sledgehammer. Got my cooler back there. Eventually I'll have a Yeti. They're just so damn expensive. Maybe there's a knockoff Yeti I can get. Let's see, what else we got? Should we look inside the cab? I have a crew cab, so I'm able to keep things here in the back, which is really nice. Pair of rubber boots for when it's rainy and muddy out there. This is a fireproof tarp. This thing really is great to have. You know, if you're welding above something that you want to protect, just spread this out over it, you know, or if you need to lie on the ground to get to some hard to reach spot, you can spread this out so you don't get all dirty. It's got a lot of uses. Fireproof tarp, they sell them at any welding supply usually. This bag here holds my battery powered drill, impact, and flashlight. This is a flame resistant Carhartt shirt that I wear sometimes. It's good to have. A lot of times I just wear these Carhartt long sleeved shirts. Here's my jacket. In this box I have all kinds of roadside safety emergency type stuff. Flares, high-vis vests, you know, stuff like that. And also parts for my welder, oil filter, fuel filter, stuff like that, spark plugs. Up here I've got a nice axe. You never know when you're going to need an axe. And my torch. My torch is a Victor brand. It's not the most expensive Victor brand, but it's kind of the second most expensive one. I have my quick release or quick connect fittings on there. That's really nice for, you know, if you're on your truck, you know, you store your hose separately from your torch, so it's easy to just pop the hose off really quick. I actually like this version of the Victor torch because the lever flips up, and that's kind of nice. You know, if you want to choke up here and grab it, you're not, you know, if you're heating something up, you can just get that out of the way, you know, if you're not cutting. So I think that's kind of a nice feature. So that's my torch. Here I've got my rod bucket. This carries all my rod. I typically only carry 60-10 and 70-18 with me. I carry 70-18 1/8 inch and 70-18 332, and then same for the 60-10. I carry 1/8 inch and 332. Here's my clipboard. all my drawings for different jobs. Got some welding caps. Sawzall. This is the newest addition to the truck, and it's really been useful. All right, let's go over to the other side. Here's a torch cutting mask, face shield, I mean. Battery charger for my drill impact and flashlight. And here's my torch hose. I carry it coiled up back here. I used to have it on a hook over on the other side there. But I was kind of worried that the sun would start to damage this thing. If you know in the comments if the sun damages these, or the heat, I'm not really sure. So I decided to keep it inside the truck. Also, so people wouldn't be tempted to steal it. There's my regulators down there. That's where I keep them now because I don't have the whatever you call it, the caps where you can still have your regulator on your tanks, but they're also secure. I need to get some of those. So for now, I just have to, every time I want to use my torch, I need to connect the regulators, connect the hose, and the torch itself. I really need to get a better system for that. Eventually, I'll probably get a hose reel or something, so it's have quicker access to that. More measuring stuff. These are the inside lens covers for my hood. It takes the 4 1/4 by 2 inch. So I like to see what I'm doing, so I change these out pretty often. I like to have a nice clear lenses on my hood. And I think that's about it. Is that it? Is that it? Yeah, I think it is. We can look in the front here, but there's not much. Oh yeah, all my safety glasses here. I carry a new one, and then the last one that I used, maybe they're a little scratched up, but I like to keep at least 2. In case I lose one, you always need to have these. That's very essential. And then my torch, my cutting glasses are right there. Yep, that's about it. I got these nice Carhartt seat covers. These things are amazing. Love them. And that's about it. I got a little organizer there on my sun visor. I like to have that. What else? What else? I think that's it. Let's go back to the rear. So that's my welding rig. All right, folks, I really appreciate you taking the time to check out my welding rig. If you have any questions about any of the tools I have on the truck, or tips, advice, if you've been in the trade much longer than me, I always love to hear what you have to say. If you have some advice, tips, pointers, whatever, I'm all ears. I love constructive criticism, so let me know what I'm doing wrong. And if you're new, or you want to start welding, or you want to start fabricating, let me know. Ask me some questions. I'm an open book. I will try to reply to every comment, so ask me anything you want. I have 6 years experience, which isn't a whole lot in the whole scheme of things, but I do know my way around a shop, and I do have some knowledge to share. So if you got questions, hit me up. And with that, that'll do it. Thanks for watching. Please like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and I guess I'll see you in the next video. If you don't know, I do a lot of folding knife stuff on the channel too, a lot of EDC stuff. I do knife reviews. I make knives. I'm also a blacksmith, amateur blacksmith, but I'm trying. I already said that, I make knives. So I have videos on all that kind of stuff on the channel, so if you're interested in that stuff too, go take a look. And thanks for watching. Love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Adios.